Hello, this is Trinice Duplessis with Cooking with Love, and this week featured dish is Oratory Catering's homemade chicken soup. That's right, homemade chicken soup made from scratch, and we're going to show you how to make that when we come right back. All right, we are back with Cooking with Love. I am so excited to show you guys how to make this beautiful, beautiful soup. So before we get started on cutting our seasoning, we're gonna show you what we have. So I have my carrots, I have my parsley, Italian parsley, I have my celery stalks, I have a tomato, I have a red bell pepper, we have onion, of course another red bell pepper, we have a green bell pepper, and then we have some garlic powder here. We have some dried parsley, and we have some Creole seasoning, and we have some garlic and herbs. And what I have on this plate is a 24-hour marinated 3 chicken breasts, 24 hours marinated. And then we have cream of chicken soup, and then we have chicken broth. Yes, we have all that to make this soup from scratch. So now we're going to dive into cutting our seasoning up, right? So we have, I'm going to start with my Italian parsley. So I just need a little bit of the edge of that. Move that to the side there. This soup is going to be fantastic because we are starting from scratch and we're using fresh seasoning. Chicken noodle soup, of course, a lot of people know they get the Campbell soup or out the can or whatever. But if you want your own unique taste, this is the way that Oratory Catering does it, right? And then when you see those seasonings running around in that pot, when you're stirring your pot for your soup, it's gonna look so beautiful and bold. And that's what you want, and you want the smell of it. Now, I'm going to talk about some other things as we go along with cutting the seasonings up, and I want to tell you another trick that you can use besides the chicken breast, and I'll tell you that in a moment. All right, so I have my parsley cut up. Let me cut it up a little more fine for you. All right, that smells good. And our seasonings are already washed off. Remember to always wash your seasonings off when you purchase your fresh seasoning from the grocery store, or if you grow your own seasoning, please still wash it off, okay? So now, I'm gonna use about 1 stalk of celery, just a little bit. You remember, you guys, celery can be used for everything, right? But this celery, the reason why I'm using this celery, because it gives it the taste of the soup, a little bold taste. And you won't taste it, but it's gonna flavor up that soup for you. So celery is not a favorite of mine, but I do use it on occasions for my certain recipes. And it just does something to certain foods that we do cook. And of course, a lot of cooks and a lot of chefs and homemade cooks, they use celery for a lot of gumbos and roux and different things like that. So we're definitely going to use this celery for this homemade chicken soup. And I'm only using 1 stalk of celery. All right. All right. Okay, so we put it. So I'm going to cut it up just a little more finer than that. Yeah, that looks so good already. And celery has a strong, bold smell to it. It really does. And you know what? Growing up, I remember my grandmother always chopping up celery, and I used to always say how bold the smell was and how I didn't like it, but she always used to give me a stalk of celery to try to eat, and I just never liked celery. And sometimes we have those childhood things that you don't like, you wind up liking it as you get older because it's an important ingredient for your soups or your gumbos or things like that. So I just didn't like celery from a little girl, but I'm learning to love it, right? Okay. So, all right, so now I got my celery cut up, right? So now let's move over to our carrots. So we're gonna use these carrots to go in our soup, right? Carrots are really good for you, and one of my favorite dishes to make with carrots, guys, we might show you that on another show, is carrot souffle. Oh yeah, carrot souffle is one of Oratory's favorite dishes to cook, and we'll show you how to make that in another show. But carrots are really good for your soups. And celery, all of this is going to make sense. All right, so let's cut that up. Cut it up in half. All right, and of course when you're boiling your roux for your soup, the celery is going to get soft, so it's not going to stay hard, okay? So just, if you're worried about it being hard, it's not. All right, so let's move the celery to the side. And we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. And guess what, guys? We're on our last portion of our fresh seasoning, our green bell pepper. So I'm getting ready to cut that up. Don't that seasoning looks beautiful, guys? This is for homemade soup. All right? So when we come back from break, gotta take another little break. I'm gonna show you something that most people don't do for their soups. And we're gonna show you that when we come right back. All right, guys, we are back. We have all our fresh seasoning cut up. We have our chicken breast, and also, guys, we have our water that's boiling for our egg noodles. So for your chicken noodle soup, use egg noodles. I have the extra wide ones, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna saute our seasoning. Now, this was the secret I was telling you about earlier that most people don't do. They just actually put the raw seasoning in the soup, but I'm gonna saute it a little bit with a little canola oil, okay? So our pot is already hot. All right, put a little bit in there, and then we're gonna move that canola oil a little bit around there. You can also use grapeseed oil as well. So let's get our fresh seasoning, our carrots and everything, and we're gonna put it right in the pot. All right, guys, y'all hear it sizzling? There we go. So, we're gonna saute that up a little bit. All right, so now, isn't that beautiful? So we got it sauteing a little bit, all right? You know what, and the reason I'm doing this is to add a little more flavor and also to soften up the vegetables a little bit, because it may take a longer time for your vegetables and your seasoning to break down as the water is boiling, but this way you can get it, you can move the process along. Okay, so while we have this seasoning sauteing, we're gonna go ahead and get our chicken breast rolling. We're gonna turn the fire on for our chicken breast. Okay, put a little canola oil for that. Now, another trick I wanna tell you about. Okay, if you don't have time to actually grill your chicken over the stove, another trick that you can do, you can actually bake a whole chicken. Just put it in the oven and bake it, and you can use all the parts of the chicken that you want, but I particularly like chicken breast for this particular recipe. And another thing you can do, I didn't mention earlier, if you don't want to use the scratch stock, you can use another way. You can broil your chicken in water, and you can get chicken stock from there. But we have our chicken stock already laid out for us. So now I got this pot hot, a little bit hot, and we're gonna get the chicken breast over here. So listen, you remember, this chicken was marinated for 24 hours. The longer, the better. And these are some really nice pieces of chicken breast here. So we're gonna put that in our pot. Oh man, everything is smelling so good. And I guess some of you probably saying, all this for homemade soup? Perfection is everything. Yes, everything for homemade soup. So I'm gonna cut the fire down just a little bit. And let's check on our saute seasoning. All right. Oh yeah, that's looking good. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust my noodles out. Go ahead and put it in the pot. We're not gonna use the whole bag, but we're gonna use half of the bag. So we got the noodles boiling. We got the chicken breast sauteing. We got the seasoning saying. Now, When we come back, we're gonna show you how to put the soup together. We'll be right back. All right, we are back and we have our seasoning sauteed just right. We're gonna cut the fire off and now we're gonna do the foundation of our soup. All right, so we got the sauteed seasoning going in our pot. Ooh, that smells so good. Now, I have my chicken breast already cooked, but I decided to throw some more on just for later, maybe some chicken sandwiches, something like that. But we have our chicken breast cooked, and now we're gonna cut the chicken breast up into fine pieces, okay? So now, chicken breast. Now, those of you who like dark meat, you can do dark meat. But a traditional chicken noodle soup is with white meat. Man, this smells so good. It looks so good, it smells good, it's tender. Again, you can cook your chicken in the oven if you just don't have that time to watch it over the stove. Now, if you like the big chunks, which I personally like the big chunks, so we got that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a pot. Do y'all see how beautiful this is looking? This is homemade. There's nothing like a homemade food. Nothing like homemade. Oratory Catering loves to cook homemade food. All right, so I have 3 chicken breasts cut up. This is the second one that I got. And this is nice sizes, nice sizes. And this is gonna fill you up, guys. This is so perfect for a remedy if you're sick or you just simply can't eat heavy foods, or it's a really cold winter time. This is just so perfect. And all of those seasons together just makes it just fantastic. I absolutely love the way this is coming out, and you're gonna love it too. All right, so now we got all our chicken breasts cut up. Look how that's looking in the pot already, right? All right, so now got the chicken breast cut up. Now we got water. This is about a 32-ounce cup of water to put in your soup. So we're gonna put that in there. Now we have chicken broth. You can buy chicken broth, you can buy the one with less sodium or whatever you want, but this is just regular chicken broth, okay? So I'm gonna use this whole entire bottle. This is 3 pounds, 48 ounces. Okay, use this whole entire bottle. Oh, looking so good. I got my noodles still going. And squeeze that in there like that. All right, so now, why do I have a can of cream of chicken soup? Because I want to make my homemade chicken noodle soup a little bit thicker. So you can use maybe about 2 tablespoons of it. Just put a little bit in there, not too much. And this is gonna give it a little pizzazz and a little thickness to it, okay? So, stir it around a little bit. The color is looking amazing. Look at that. Oh my God. This is a blessing. God is amazing, huh? How you can just put things together. I have my noodles still cooking. Now, guess what I'm gonna do now? So now I'm gonna use my powdered seasonings, okay? So I have a little bit of Creole seasoning, okay? I have a little bit of garlic powder. I have some garlic and herbs mixed together. And I have my dry parsley. Ooh, boy, look at that. Now, look at that masterpiece. Look how it's looking, guys. Just beautiful. Now, how long are we gonna cook this for? Me personally, Oratory Caterings, let it simmer for a nice hour. Okay, let it simmer. Now the chicken is already pre-cooked, but if you really have time, let it simmer for an hour. It's almost like a pot of gumbo, but it's soup. So when we come right back, We have more for you. Hi, we are back, guys. We have a special guest in the studio today, Mr. Theo Duro. We have our chicken homemade noodle soup. We have a Caesar salad, and we have some homemade garlic bread. We're gonna eat this meal, and when we return, we're gonna have a conversation with Mr. Duro. See you in a few minutes. All right, guys, we are back. We are back with Mr. Theo. Tell us how you enjoyed this meal.
Amazing. Let me tell you, that food, it was nothing less than what I expected, though, because I already know of your greatness.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Theo Duro, singer, songwriter, producer, composer, as well as an artist. And I really just make music in terms of genres. You can call it R&B, adult contemporary, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're comfortable with. That's what I tell everybody. Look, I say, hey, look, baby, whatever you're comfortable with, as long as you find a way to gel with it, that's all I care about. But so I make music for the world, even though most might call it R&B. But I love to just create and shape beautiful atmospheres for people to, for lack of a better word, just zone out and to find themselves through the melodies that are created and given through the music.
Well, you do that well, because I've listened to a lot of your music. I've seen you live. You definitely bring me back to the R&B stages. Growing up, tell me, how long have you been composing music? How long have you been singing? Because you're a pianist, you do a little bit of everything. Just tell us, how long when did you realize that was your gift?
Ooh, man. I'll say this. I took interest in it when I was about 7 years old. But in terms of realizing that it was a gift, I would have to say that took place maybe in my mid-teen years, somewhere around 14 or 15. And the city of New Orleans has so much bearing on inspiring, just walking around, believe it or not. Literally just walking around enjoying the architecture and the vibes of my own city literally shaped the musical sphere in my brain. Now Stevie Wonder had a lot to do with this too now, because my mother plays Stevie Wonder a lot in the house.
That's what that was my, see, you read my mind. That was my next question. Who did you like when you saw that person on TV, or that moment, like, I want to be like that person? When did that happen for you?
And I'll say, that took place maybe around 16 or 17 years old, because that's when I finally started getting formed to it. But I have to say Stevie Wonder, because when I listen to music, a lot of people are moved by the words in a song, but for me, the melodies, the music itself, if you tune out the words, the music tells a story as well. Even when and I'm not talking about instrumentals, Trinice, I'm talking about just the music. I'm talking about songs that have words. Sometimes you can tune the words out and hear the music telling a parallel story. You know, and with Stevie Wonder's music, I always love the way the music is telling the same story as the lyrics.
I totally understand what you're saying, because Stevie Wonder is a living legend, and so many composers, so many artists have learned from him, and to know that he was blind but just have so many gifts. It's the storytelling, because when I listen to your music, I feel that storytelling, and that is what an artist should aim for, is to through storytelling and visuals and make you feel a sense of meditation. So when you were growing up, did your mom sing? Is your mom still with us?
She is. Did
she sing, or or who did you take that gift after? Your dad, your mom, or any grandma?
Honestly, I'm a first generation musician.
What?
I'm a first generation musician. So the singing, the composing, writing, piano playing. I thank God first of all for being born in this city.
Yes.
I felt like it had to happen, but I'm a first generation musician. And my mother, she's not musically inclined, but she's a huge musical connoisseur. We heard a little bit of everything in my house. We heard from Tracy Chapman to Stevie Wonder, Lenny Kravitz, Ohio Players, Earth, Wind and Fire. We got a little bit of it all growing up in my house. So that just had a huge bearing on. I'm like, okay, you know what? I believe that I'm called to be somewhere up in that roadmap to use that to help not just tell my story, but to tell the story of life by way of melodies.
That is amazing. I mean, we can sit here and talk all day about everything, but do you feel as though it's your responsibility to bring that R&B back? Do you feel as though is that a weight on your shoulders? Like, I need to show this younger generation how it's been done, because do you think some of the younger generation, like my son is 16, he listens to the oldies because his parents listen to it. But do you think it's your responsibility to get these younger folks to appreciate that type of music?
Absolutely, Trinice. But I'll say it this way. A lot of times we listen to people in our generation, we're Generation Xers. I was born right on the cuff of X and millennial. I'm born in 1980. The millennials start in 81. And so as somebody who's born right on the cuff, I believe that I do have a responsibility to bridge the gap. So I'm not saying that their music is not good, but the message I do want to push out is that we don't have to move away from the old. We can take the new and expand the old and expand them both together. Maybe that's what I try to tell everybody. In other words, we don't have to totally assimilate to the new, because you put on R&B music today, the same music that it's amazing to me. When we were coming up in the 90s, R&B was like, it was Joe, it was Tony, Mint Condition, and
I'll Be Sure.
Correct, I'll Be Sure. Babyface, it had a little sensuality to it, whereas now people use that same, they throw that word around, R&B, loosely, and all you hear is boom, 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 which is the same cadence that you hear in trap music. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and try to step on trap music, because everything is inclusive. But at the same time, we're not going to use that to replace the old. Let's expand. Let's keep growing. Let's expand it all and show everybody how all of this has a place in that spectrum.
Well, you pretty summed up everything, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break and we're going to listen to some of your music, and we'll be right back.
Take me into love's paradise, soothing my ears, pleasing my mind. Ooh, I'm loved by you. Celestial cries illuminate my skies. The heavens unfold, a mystery untold. Behold, bells ringing, dancing, trancing, singing. Ooh, amazing. I've ever known. my soul. Ooh, I'm loved by you. I'm loved by you. I can fly heaven's high, and there's none like you. I can go valley low, and there's none like you. I can stride ocean wide, none like you.
That was absolutely amazing. That brings me back to the 90s. You're the type of artist that I can just listen to all day. Now we want our audience, look into the camera and tell the audience where they can reach you, your social media platforms, how they can get connected to you.
First off, and once again, the name is Theo Duro. That's Theodureau. Once again, Theo Duro, Dureau, Theodureau. I'm on all social platforms, everything from SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, and all digital platforms. In fact, Pandora has a Theo Duro music radio station, a Theo Duro Radio. Of course, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon Music, and of course, Apple Music. Social media handle is at Get With Theo. If you're on Instagram, it's Get With Theo.
That's beautiful. That's and also YouTube, right?
Absolutely, YouTube. Yeah, we can't forget YouTube because there's going to be a lot of content coming along with the music on YouTube.
Good. Well, we're certainly, you have blessed us today with your atmosphere, your voice, and everything.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for coming to the studio. But we're going to go ahead and end this segment of Cooking with Love, and you guys make sure you follow Oratory Catering on Instagram and follow us on YouTube. And we'll see you next time with Cooking with Love.